Hello, welcome back to the Lingua Loom. Today we're going to discuss one of the topics from Morphology series. So, this is the topic that we're going to study today, the weirdest words ever created in English. So, let's dive into these words and see that how they're morphologically built. The first part is words that look like they fell off an alien keyboard. Well, imagine you're scrolling through the dictionary and you suddenly stumble upon words with 45 letters long. Well, it's not just a myth, it is true. There are words that long, not all, but some even rare in case. It looks fake, but it is not. It is part of English. So every fragment, every piece of this world, they mean something. And they build in such a way that they look bizarre, but at the same time they're shocking, as they're difficult to pronounce, and some of the words are even heard for the first time. So let's look at a language that can build a 48-letter world from meaningful pieces is not chaotic. It is architecturally brilliant. English is not random. It is ruthlessly, endlessly productive. So welcome to this topic in which we are going to discuss long words and bizarre words of English morphology. Their weirdest, longest, and shocking because they're quite long and difficult to pronounce. So, what makes a word feel weird? So, before that, we have to ask ourselves, why do certain words feel strange to us? Well, it is not random. Psycholinguists who study the intersection of language and cognition have identified several properties that trigger this response in human brain. So this is it. The weirdness matrix that I have drawn to show you as an example. The first factor is the why do you feel these words are weird is extreme length. They're longer as compared to our everyday vocabulary that we use. 15 or 12 letters. They're exceeding them like this. We'll discuss it later. Then the pronunciation difficulty because they're having rare consonant clusters or vowel sequence that is not actually used in our everyday phonological predictions. Then visual density, repeated letters or unusual letter combination. And other is low frequency or rarity. Words the brain rarely encounters lack a stored mental entry, creating unfamiliarity. Because these words are not spoken quite a lot, so our brain does not actually store them because we have not been familiar with them. So that's why they're weird to us, they sound weird. Then unfamiliar morpheme structure. Was built from root outside the Germanic core of English feel is foreign. Like sometimes when we add prefixes or suffixes, they sound normal for us, but sometimes the combination of them is quite a lot different that they seem bizarre to us. Then there is sound symbolism mismatch. Sound that does not match the typical emotional expectations of the concept. For example, moist, it is not generally liked. Then another is these factors compound a word that is simultaneously long, visually dense, rarely heard, and built from unfamiliar root produces a sensation of almost comical alienation. But science is clear these worlds are not random, they are built systematically, piece by piece, and the science through which they are built is called morphology. So let's first look at what is morphology. We have discussed in previous videos too, introduction of morphology, but as we're discussing this topic, let's rewind it. Okay, to shake up mind at what it actually is. Morphology, the architecture of meaning. Think of a word you say, you might think of a building. A skyscraper is not a single slab of concrete, it is engineered from different material. So it basically says that, like a building, it is not built just from concrete or bricks, it requires different materials. So same is the case with words, they're not just made up somehow in our minds. They're built step by step, layer by layer. So this is morphology. It is the definition of it. It is a branch of linguistics that studies the internal structure of words, specifically the smallest unit of meaning called morphemes. So as we discussed earlier, the smallest unit of sound is phoneme, and the smallest unit of meaning is morpheme. So let's look at it. A morpheme is a minimal unit that carries meaning or grammatical function. It cannot be subdivided further without losing its significance entirely. The word unbreakable contains three morphemes, that is un, break, and able. Each piece is full of meaning together, a complete, precise concept that is not capable of being broken. So even this has a meaning, even this and this. How can on have meaning? Well, they have grammatical meanings and they have lexical meanings. Then let's look at two types of morphemes. Morpheme is divided into two fundamental categories, that is morpheme, minimal unit of meaning, classified into free morpheme and bound morpheme. Free morphemes, they can stand alone as a word, and bound morpheme, they cannot stand alone. These are lexical and functional. Lexical such as cat, run, and functional the, of, ing, that is ing. And derivational ness, un, ifyfa, like in specify. Then inflection, that is as, ad, ing. We have discussed this. You can check out that video for complete details. So let's look at derivational morphemes are the two architects of the weird words. They change the meaning of grammatical category of a root, transforming a word in verb into noun, a noun into adjective, and so on. Stack them enough and you'll get a weird word. Something that is novel. Word formation processes in English, we'll just look at them. We have discussed them earlier, just a journal reminder. So these are the process. First, affixation, adding prefix or suffix to root, like un and ness with happy, and it makes unhappiness. Then derivational morphology, using affixes to change word class or meaning, that is govern. When ment is added, it means it forms government, and when l is added at the end, this one, it forms governmental. Then affix stacking, layering multiple affixes around a root. Here, root is this establish, and their different affixes attached to it. These are prefixes, and these are suffixes. Then compounding, merging two independent words like a doom plus scroll plus ing, doom scrolling. Then neologism or coinage, inventing a new word from existing roots like ungoogleable from Google. Then blending. Blending is fusing parts of two words into one, forming brunch from breakfast and lunch. Then back formation, it is removing a prefix affix to create a new word. Additor forms added when or is removed from it. Then acronym or initialization, using first letter of a phrase as a word, like NASA and scuba and radar. So these are the word formation processes. Now let's look at tearing apart the giants. It is coming to our topic. Now we enter the dissection room. Dissection room where we will be dealing with long words that are bewildering, morpheme by morpheme. So look at them, that how they're actually formed. First one is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Wow, this is quite long. It means opposition to the withdrawal of state support from an established church. So, for a generation, this was the most famous long word in English language. So, if you look at it closer, it is made of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 morphemes. So let's look at it layer by layer. This is the root, establish, which forms establishment, which is institution. Disestablishment, removing it from the state support. Then disestablishmentarian, one who supports that removal. Then it forms disestablishmentarianism, that belief as a system. Then anti-disestablishmentarianism, opposition to that belief. So this is a recursive derivation of morphology. Each step produces a new word which then accepts the new affix, which results in a chain of morphemes which is long. So here's the root. This is prefix, both of them, and these are suffixes. So look at it. Okay, let's move forward. Now here it is, the 45 letters, which is quite a lot difficult as it is super long. Okay, let's try to pronounce it. Numinal, tromy, numinal, tromy, croscopy, numinal, tromy, croscopy, silico, volcano, Gonesius. Wow, that's long. It is name of a disease, a lung disease caused by inhaling fine silica dust from volcanoes. So it is a 45 letter longest word in English dictionary. It was coined in 1935 by Everett Smith, president of the National Puzzlers League, partially as the demonstration of how medical terminology could be systematically extended. It is a master class in classical compounding. So this is totally long. So this is, you can break it in chunks and then pronounce it numino ultra. This is what it represents. Ultra micra. Numino ultra microscopic silica volcanoconiosis. Numino ultra microscopic silica volcanoconiosis. So when break it, it is easy to remember it and save it in your memory. So every single morpheme is the Greek or Latin root, contributing to the precise scientific meaning. First is long, then beyond. It is tiny, then is observable, represent is scopic. Then this silico represents silica, volcano for volcano, then coni, dust, and for condition is osseous. So this is not a word play, it is a medical precision made structural. This will also demonstrate scientific terminology's need for specificity. Medicine and science cannot afford ambiguity. This 45 letter word encodes a unique concept in the form reproducible across languages, laboratories, and centuries. So this is it, one of the biggest words. Look at it, then I'll move forward. Okay, let's move forward. Now this is 29 letters. It is one of my favorites too. Floxinoxynihilipilification. Yes, I have learned it by repetition, and now it's easy for me to say it. It means the act of estimating something as worthless. This word is a spectacular case of scholarly in-joke encoded in morphology. It was assembled in the 18th century from 4 Latin adjectives that were listed in the Latin grammar textbook: floxy, noxy, nihili, pili, all meaning of little or no value in different grammatical contexts. They were then joined and suffixed to create one glorious self-aware world, meaning the estimation of something as worthless. So this is floxy, noxy, nihili, pilification. The irony is that a word about worthlessness is itself elaborated so gloriously. So it is a linguistic equivalent of philosopher writing a 1,000-page book about the pointlessness of philosophy, first recorded in a letter by William Sandstein in 1741. It has been used occasionally theatrically in British parliamentary debates. So this is it. Okay, let's move forward. It is 27 letters. Wow. Let's learn from here how to pronounce it. Electroencephalographically. Electroencephalographically. Wow. Relating to the method of recording brain electrical activity. This word is a textbook demonstration of adverbial derivation applied to scientific compound noun. The base component, this one is a machine that measures electrical activity in the brain. So this is it. Two suffixes are added to it. The suffix "ig" converts the compound noun into adjective, then "ale" converts that adjective into the adverb. This is the perfect demonstration of derivational suffix stacking, each layer performing the grammatical transformation on the layer below it. So this is a clear example of how affixes play his role in changing word categories. So this is electroencephalographically. Let's move forward. This is 22 letter otorhinolaryngological. Wow. Otorhinolaryngological. Or for relating to the medical field studying ear, nose, and throat. Well, ENT will be best. This is super scary. This is the adjective form of otorhinolaryngology. Huh. Yeah, that's it. Otorhinolaryngology. Otorhinolaryngology. Go. It's not Joe, it's go. Otorhinolaryngology. The medical specialty most people call ENT, ear, nose, and throat. The full term exists because medical demand anatomical precision. Each root names a specific structure: otorhinolaryngological. This will also illustrate a crucial principle: scientific language is international. Because Greek and Latin roots are shared across European medical tradition, a doctor in Pakistan, Germany, or Brazil can decode this word using the same morphemic logic. The length is not decoration, it is a precise instrument. Most of these long words are in medical field to denote to some kind of diseases. There are another big word too. I maybe not able to mention is that is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's fine. We're dealing with 3 to 4. They're quite good too. So the next part is the mechanics behind the madness. So why these joint words, how they're formed. So let's look at it. It is disestablishmentarianism. First, establish is root, which is a verb, and establishment meant, which forms noun. Then this again forms a noun, and disestablishmentarian, it forms an adjective, and disestablishmentarianism refers to noun, which is an ideology, and anti-disestablishmentarianism, is opposition to that ideology. This shows how layers change meaning and even grammatical categories. Let's check. The productivity in morphology. One of the most mind expanding concepts in linguistics is morphological productivity. Some affixes are highly predictive, they can attach to the almost unlimited range of base to create new word. Others are frozen. The suffix "ness", for example, is extraordinarily predictive. It can combine with any adjective and produce a noun. For example, sad from sadness, weird from weirdness, ungoogleable from ungoogleableness. The speaker of English don't need to hear a word first to understand it. They parse it. So this shows the morphological productivity of different affix taking ness as the most productive percentage, then on after it that forms an agent like write to writer, then ify like a specify, then Aryan, for example, history to historian, and this is shun, and this is crazy, like in democracy, autocracy too. Ling, this is added in verse 2, and it is the least productive. This is not a standard matrix, be sure about it. It is just giving you estimation about how productive the words are, morphemes are. Then recursive word formation. Language has a remarkable property of recursion, like ability to form new words by stacking affixes layer by layer. And even that happens at the sentence level too. The sentence the cat that the dog that the man owned chased ran away is technically grammatical. Even if it is overloaded for working memory, words work the same way. So this is the example that I told you about, that adding layer by layer, like happy, then add unhappy, and then add ness and happiness. Then add super unhappiness, then add anti. It will be anti super unhappiness. They're low in frequency, but they still have the ability to be recursive in nature. Then combining two words and making it one to form a new meaning. The two word morphemes that stand alone, they are grouped together to form a new word, like as hot dog. It is not a dog that is hot, it is something that is eatable. So English compounding is inventive and operates on visually all word classes. Then moving forward to Greek and Latin, the DNA of big English words. So for the most of big words of English, long words, Greek and Latin affixes are attached. So when English needs technical vocabulary for English, science, law, theology, philosophy, it does not invent new sounds. It borrows from two major languages, that is ancient Greek and Latin. The result is the linguistic genome. Every time you encounter a long word in a medical textbook or scientific journal, you are reading ancient Greek and Latin dressed in modern clothing. So these are some of the words. Pneumeno, that is Greek, lung or air. Then encephalo or encephalo, that is Greek for brain. Then cardio, it's for heart, it is Greek. Dermato, it is for skin, it is also Greek. Then nephro, it is for kidney, Greek. Osteo, it is for bone. Then hemo, it is for blood, it is also Greek. Micro for small, it is Greek. And macro for large. Logos, study or reason, also Greek. Pisces, it is condition, it is also Greek. Graphine, to write, it is also Greek. Then ultra is beyond, it is Latin. Sub is under, it is Latin. Inter is beyond, also Latin. Trans, these are all Latin ones. So trans is across. Nihili is nothing. Volcanus is volcano. Silex is flint or silica. And shun is act or process. So these are the few of the Greek and Latin morphemes that are given here an example. So this shows that English is not a single language, it is a stratified geographical formation. Germanic bedrock, Norman, French sediment, and the thick classical veneer. The weird world lives in that top layer. So this shows that English is not just a language consisting of English words that borrow from German, Norman, and classical languages like Greek and Latin. So historically, the classical vocabulary entered English in multiple waves through ecclesiastical Latin, the language of church, then Norman French, 1066 conquest. We have discussed in our literature video. You can check it from there. That what is Norman conquest. Then Renaissance humanism, 16th century revival of classical learning. It is also discussed in our literature videos. You can check it from there. And the ongoing expansion of scientific terminology from the 17th century onward. So this stratification is why English has doublets like kingly, it's Germanic, regal, it's Latin, or ask, it is also Germanic, and interrogate, it is Latin. The long words almost always occupy the formal technical register precisely because they come from this classical tradition of precision. So this shows that English take words from different languages and some parts of the words that are morpheme to form new words. Now moving forward to neologism, when morphology meets the present. Example, word formation that built 18th century giants like Reduplication. It is still used today. Morphology is not a museum exhibit, it is live, productive, and with the new words coming and new concepts are coming, new words are being introduced. So these are the words. Let's look at them. Some new words, that is doom scrolling. It is compounding like doom and scroll plus a fixation ing. This one. Compounding doom, all English doom, that is judgment or fate with scroll. Now digital like you scroll on your Instagram or other websites or Google plus progressive ing. Captures the compulsive consumption of distressing news, first noted in 2020. Next one is ungoogleable. Derivation is prefix plus suffix. Google is the root and un is prefix and able is suffix. Takes the proper noun Google verbalize it via conversion, then add able and un, a full derivational chain. Here it is on a brand name, the Swedish language console officially listed in 2012. Then selfie stickification. It is a compound plus nominalization, a playful nominalization like selfie stick and selfie stickify, then selfie stickification. This demonstration how a same suffix tags that big classical join now with internet slangs. So this is an internet language. Post-truth, the Latin prefix post, that is beyond or after, applied to the abstract noun truth, Oxford Word of the Year 2016. A single prefix transforms an abstract noun into cultural critique. Then deplatforming. It is derivation plus conversion. Platform is noun, then deplatform, and then deplatforming. A political significant neologism born from digital culture. Then fintech, blending plus clipping. First is financial, then is technology, and it is one of the most productive word formation process that is blending in modern coinage, practically used in business and tech classes. So the modern words are created because of the internet language and through modern technology. So new words are being created. So this is the infinite productivity of English. Here comes Noam Chomsky. The linguist Noam Chomsky famously argued that human language has discrete infinity. From the finite set of rules and animal we can produce infinite number of sentences. Morphology exhibits the same property at word level. From the finite set of morphemes and word formation, we can generate words that have never existed before, and native speakers will understand them immediately. So this is what Chomsky said, that humans have the ability to create infinite number of sentences from finite rules we have discussed in our syntax videos. So the same goes for other levels of linguistics too. Same for morphology, that this exhibits the same property. For example, and democratization. No dictionary contains it, but every speaker can parse it. It means the process of democratizing against something that has been undemocratized. This is a morphological rule that is working at the back end of our mind. It is a cognitive work. So here it is. Every time you understand a word you have never encountered before, you are not demonstrating you're demonstrating a generative power of morphological knowledge. This system is not memorized, it is computed. So as Chomsky said, our mind is computational, it works in computational algorithm. So this is what that. So here coming to the next part, why some words feel funny, gross or wrong. So till now we have been looking at long words. Now let's look at funny words. This is another dimension to weird words. Sound symbolism. Sound symbolism is known academically as phonesthesia or phonosemantics. Is the non-arbitrary relationship between the sound of the world and the sensation of meaning it evokes. This is not about etymology, it is about how the human auditory and articulatory systems respond to certain phonetic patterns. So these are gull, initial cluster, that is glim, glitter, glow, glint, glimmer. Associated with the visual light phenomena, a genuine phonostatic cluster documented by linguist Firth in 1930s. Then Sull, initial cluster again, slime, slug, slope, sludge, slur. It is associated with unclean, derogatory meanings across English speakers. Then is a final cluster that is bump, thump, lump, dump, clump. It is heavy, rated heavy, something that is heavy. In psycholinguistic experiments, then oi, sound, vowel sound, it's moist, soil, coil, royal, toil. The infamous moist effect, the mid vowel combined with the final consonant cluster create the widespread aversion in English speakers. So what is the moist problem? So the word moist is perhaps the most discussed word of word aversion in contemporary linguistics. Research published in the journal PLOS ONE, these are the researchers, found that the significant proportion of English speakers report discomfort at the word, independent of its meaning. That the discomfort was linked not to semantic association but to phonological properties. The diphthong, this is the diphthong, oi, followed by the final consonant cluster, ast, that is s, t, creates a complex articulatory sequence that some speakers experience as unpleasant. So this is extraordinary evidence that phonology, the sound structure of language, has emotional valence that is at least partially independent of semantics. The letter on the page, the sound in the throat carry feelings. So moist, it is even hard to pronounce. It requires stress in the throat. Then humorous words and velar plosive. Stand-up comedians have known for generations what linguists now confronts words containing velar plosive, that is k and g, are perceived as funnier. The K rule, noted by Neil Simon in The Sunshine Boys, 1972, and studies empirically by Chris Westbury at the University of Alberta, suggest that words with velar plosive, especially in initial position, are rated as more humorous. These are the words like kerfuffle, catspoppus, cattypoppus, clouds, gobbledygook, all carry comedy, comic snap. So these are the words that sound humorous and comical. Let's move forward. That is how the human brain processes a 45-letter word. There is a question that when you encounter a long word like this, for the first time, what happens in your brain? This is not a rhetorical question. Psycholinguistics is the field of linguistics that studies the science of language and cognition, has mapped the process with increasing precision. So the first one is visual encoding. The eye scan the letter sequence by sequence, and then the word exists for foveal span. The brain flags that this is not standard lexical item because we have not associated with it. We don't know actually it in our everyday vocabulary, so it is new to us. Then the next is lexical access attempt. The brain attempts to retrieve the word from the ventral lexicon. The internal dictionary stored in the long-term memory. So for long words, no stored entries found, the brain switches to strategy, the what today. Then morphological parsing. Unable to retrieve the whole world as unit, the brain divides it into parts. Research by Wilson and his colleagues in 1994 using EEG shows the complex words activate their constituent morphemes during processing. For example, like this. So we parse the word to pronounce it. Then compositional semantic assembly. This morpheme meanings are assembled compositionally left to right with the brain building a running hypothesis about total meaning, the what it is. That is what brain decided in this stage. Then working memory load. Processing long word places exceptional demand on working memory that has to pronounce it, what this word means, first time finding it weird. So these are the workloads that are uploaded or loaded in memory. So George psycholinguist George Miller classic 7 plus minus 2 rule in 1956 described how human can hold roughly 7 chunks of information in working memory. A 42 letter word with 8 morpheme approaches this limit. The other one is a part 6, which is phonological encoding for pronunciation. So when you attempt to pronounce this word, the brain constructs a phonological plan that how to pronounce it. Even this word means 19 syllable. The brain must predict the stress pattern. The way will be stress is to pronounce this word. So then episodic memory encoding, that's point number 7. Because the encounter is usually blade flags for episodic memory stories, the memory for specific events. This is why likely you still remember for the first time you saw anti-disestablishmentarianism. Novelty triggers the hippocampus, that is part of the brain, to encode an event more deeply. Weird words stick precisely because they're weird. So this is what happens when you encounter long and weird words. This is how your memory actually works. This is the work done by psycholinguists, that how we deal with these kind of words. And this is it, the mental lexicon word processing pipeline. What actually happens? First you encounter a word, and then our mind checks the mental lexicon. Is this word stored a whole unit? If it is, then access easily. If no, then morpheme decomposition. We stack them into different parts and then compose meaning from those parts. So this is how our brain works regarding this. Then psycholinguistics and the mental lexicon. The mental lexicon is one of the most studied objects in cognitive linguistics. It's not a passive dictionary, but a dynamic associative network where words are linked by sound, meaning, grammatical category, and morphological family. When you activate establish, when you say establish morphological relatives that are in our lexicon, they come forming a pre-activated network that is it establishment or it is disestablishment or it is established. These are in our lexicon that come when someone or when we get an input that is established. This explains a remarkable phenomena that is morphological priming. If you see a word establish, you will recognize the words related to it faster, even if they're never shown to you, because they're already in the back of your mind, the morphological activity happening. The brain does not learn words in isolation, it learns from morphological patterns. So you may be thinking the why psycholinguistics in it. Because we're dealing with words, and words are not formed outside of our mind, they are in our mind. And when new words come, they're also building up in someone's mind too. So to learn these words, to know that how many, much more words can be derived from this one word, our brain plays a huge part. So our mind, our brain. So even if it's brain, then it's neurolinguistics, and if it's mind, then it's psycholinguistics, and if it's cognition, then it's cognitive linguistics. The two are interrelated, but they still play a part. And when we're discussing it, it is obvious that psycholinguistics is going to be mentioned. Moving forward, fake sounding but generally real words. Some words that sound like they're not real, they're made up, but they're real. Okay, let's move forward. Words like these are the words that are lollygag. Then this is kerfuffle, cats, cattyboppers. These are the actually meaning and why they sound fake. These are written here. These are other words that liberty bigot, tiki bat. Now they sound fake to us because we don't mostly use them, but they're already there. Then there are others not mostly used. You can just look at them here. Just a bit. This is easy to see now. Just look at them and check them. Now let's move forward. So what unite these words? Several productive of expressive morphology, word formation, driven not by semantic precision but by phonological expressiveness. These sounds themselves are chosen because they feel right for the meaning, like flibbergibbet, gibbet, flibbergibbet. Sounds like what it means: rapid, chattery, unstoppable. Collywobbles, wobbles. This is sound symbolism in action, not analogy or root, but a raw phonology performing meaning. Others are durable, deliberate lexical comedy. 19th century American English had a rich tradition to mock Latin coinage that mimic the words of classical vocabulary. These words are jokes that still last today. So let's move forward. Lexical creativity, language as a living organism. So language has ability to be super creative as new words come. So new words are formed with new inventions, new technology. So it is bound to happen that new words are going to be created. So English lexicon is not a closed archive, it is open, living, and productive. So here it is that Old English borrowed from Latin prefixes and Greek roots. The word English dictionary adds hundreds of new words, and the mechanics is same as they were in 17th century, only the cultural inputs change. So this is the diagram. Word formation ecosystem, how English word new words. This is a diagram as a flow chart for you to understand. It is easy to keep in mind. First, new English word, morphological process. If we're doing back formation, then this. Conversion, another one. Then borrowing, neologism, acronym or initialization, affixation, compounding, and blending. These are the processes that happen to form new words. So let's move forward. So this shows that every arrow in the diagram is a different mechanism by which English grows. None of them require institutional permission. No committee at all. Language users, anyone can create new word, but not randomly. Never mind, the system is operating, and through the system, new words are created. The word does not spread widely, quietly vanishes. So internet is the best source to spread word. That's how new words are added. So this shows the Oxford English Dictionary currently tracks over 6 lakh words and sentences in English. That is 600,000 words, more than any other language has ever codified, and the machine of morphology is still building. As we are human, as we are changing, so it's bound to happen that new words are going to come. So let's conclude the topic. The infinite architecture of English. We began with a world that looked like an alien word. We ended up with something more powerful that no English word is random. Every morpheme is a decision. Every prefix is a historical inheritance. Every suffix is a grammatical operation. Every compound is a cultural movement crystallized into syllables. The weird words in English are not mistakes or jokes. They're the most visible expression of the principle that run through all language. That is, meaning is built, not born. So when you say something really long, it is the example of human precision. That is 8 morpheme, 8 pieces of meaning, all perfectly load bearing, showing the capability of human mind. So when you say this word, you feel the urge to laugh. That's what it is. But it is scholarly work and done by in 18th century by a scholar who knew exactly what he was doing. So when you say about something like this doom scrolling, it is without a second thought, you are participating in the same morphological tradition that built the giant just as internet speed. So this shows that English is language is not a fossil; it is forged, and morphology is the fire. So this is a very beautiful quote, which describes morphology, that what it is, importance of morphology. So these are the references from where data has been taken. You can check them out if you want to read further. So this is it for today. For today, thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and please do comment too, as your comment means a lot, as it's necessary for YouTube algorithm too. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.